Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Point of View. Brian's not here this week, so I'm going to be kind of in control here tonight. I'm here with my friend Brian and my friend Dereck. We're going to talk about whatever. We're just going to talk about a bunch of football stuff. I think we'll start with the game that just took place this Monday, right?
Yep.
And then we'll just talk about whatever. Me and Brian can talk about our little situation with Mr. Trubisky and just whatever. So. I guess that's it. So, all right. So I'm going to start with this actually. So my first question, we'll talk about what happened this weekend, last weekend or whatever, about the Bears. But
yeah,
going into the season, just the way you sort of viewed the team, are you surprised? And I know it's half of the season, so technically you still finish 5-12,
right?
Whatever.
Exactly. Right.
But
it's about halfway.
Yeah. But if you were to take me back to sort of the way you were thinking about it, going into next season, because obviously I feel like most people saw the Packers and the Vikings.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just
battling
it
for
was
the
like,
division.
well, it's either the Bears or the Lions who's going to finish last.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah.
And what I've always said is, and I'm just going to reaffirm my position, I think your defense is world class.
Oh God, yeah.
If you had Russell Wilson, you win the next 4 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
The next 4. So it's like that's the only thing you're missing. And then Nick Foles' situation comes along, and Mitch starts the season. So I guess my question is, what were your expectations, and what's in the Bears season for you?
My expectations, personally, per se, going into the season, my best bet was 8-8, 9-7. I heard all it because I follow enough pages, and I listen to what people say around Bears camp, out of Bourbonnais and out of wherever they're at now in Illinois, and Lake Forest. That Mitch had been working all season on his footwork. He coached with a dude who helped Patrick Mahomes with footwork and Russell Wilson and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, but I don't know how much I'm gonna buy it.
So you were pessimistic going into Mitch.
Pessimistic, but I was
going and sorry to interrupt. And I'm
Yeah.
going to interrupt because there's just the way.
That's fine.
So this season, when you traded for Nick Foles and all that stuff happened,
Right?
Were you on board with Mitch being the starter, or did you feel? Because I was dead wrong. I thought he was going to be cut, and I didn't think I thought maybe he'd be a practice squad guy.
Right.
And that's just the way I looked at him.
Yeah.
After the season he had, even the season before that, where he looked, there's just sort of cracks you could see there.
Yeah.
So with that quarterback situation, what side were you on as far as?
I was fine with letting Mitch start, and everybody knew, Bears fans, media, Mitch was going to be on a short leash. Now, granted, week 1 against the Lions, he didn't look that great in the first 3 quarters statistically, and there were parts of it where you could see that he had improved footwork. He looked more comfortable in the pocket.
Yeah.
But it still wasn't until
he still had some erratic throws.
Yes, he still did. And then in the 4th quarter, it's just like touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. I'm just like,
it's sort of the Jay Cutler syndrome is what I.
But I like Jay Cutler more than Mitch.
No, absolutely, he's better.
Oh God, yeah.
But the thing with Jay Cutler is I think Jay Cutler's problem is attitude and all that stuff. But like, you go into these games, and back then when Jay Cutler was the thing in Chicago, you were hanging out every week. So
exactly.
So like, but the thing about Jay Cutler is he could play really bad, and obviously he's way better than Mitch, but he could play really bad. But in the 4th quarter, for whatever reason, he could turn it on.
Yeah, he was a GOAT before.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm gonna say this to the camera, if I can tell myself on the camera. In the 4th quarter, historically, Jay Cutler is a better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
It's crazy that sounds. It's true. Because the thing about, and I don't want, you're 2 Bear fans and someone who doesn't like the Packers.
Right.
So we're gonna be throwing people on the bus here.
Right.
But Ryan Tannehill has more game-winning drives than Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
So if you look at like 4th quarter comebacks, Aaron Rodgers Jay Cutler's actually done more in that respect, and and there's no one here to defend him, so so I just think like the Jay Cutler.
Sorry, Dan.
I think the Jay Cutler thing is interesting. But again, sorry, I don't mean to rush, but continue.
So I was like, okay, and he's known because we've watched the last 3 seasons. We've watched Bears games pretty much religiously.
Pretty much every week.
Pretty much. This season, after week 1 and week 2, who do we play week 2? Who did we play week 2?
You played the Falcons.
No, that was week 3. That was week 3. I forgot. Let me look. whoever we played week
was
3.
it? Wasn't it like a divisional team?
No, because we haven't played Packers or Vikes yet. We played no, it wasn't them.
We played,
The Giants. We played the Giants.
the Giants.
And then we
For whatever
played
reason, my head was saying Giants, but my mouth wasn't telling me not to say it.
right. We played so we played the Lions, Giants, Falcons, Colts,
Yep.
Bucks, Panthers, and the Rams, obviously, Monday. Monday.
Yep. Couple days.
He has a more optimistic view on it, a win's a win, but I'm like, teams that you expect or want to go to a Super Bowl, they're not going to win ugly every week.
Right.
And it was just one of those things where it was like,
It's like, and I don't get me wrong. It's like one of those things where it takes a individual talent to really propel yourself
right,
over sort of that hump. And if you don't have that individual talent, it's not a thing.
right,
For example, only soccer reference, I swear.
okay,
So last year with Juventus, their team was
We'll
awful.
hold you to that.
right,
God awful. But I'm only saying this in this situation
Mhm.
because this example is so relevant to what you're talking about here.
right,
So Paul, they have Ronaldo. I'm not going to talk about him, but Paul Dybala is an Argentinian forward who didn't have the statistics that you would say, wow, he was the best player.
yeah,
With every game, he had that moment, or he applied that moment
right,
to sort of take that team. They won the title
yeah,
basically because of him, right?
Mhm.
So you're in a situation where your team is good, but you don't have those. I feel like you don't have those players that can have that moment where you're in a
Right.
situation where your offense needs to propel you, and
right,
you don't have that player.
no,
Allen Robinson's great, but
Oh,
you
God.
can't play quarterback, running back, one,
No.
two.
no, and we don't have him for the game coming up.
And I want to get about the contract situation also.
Oh, don't even get me started on that.
If we don't re-sign him, I'm gonna be so mad.
I am too.
I'm sorry.
I feel like you're not going to though,
Yeah, I do too.
because it would have been done deal.
Because what made me even more mad about him still not having an extension 2 weeks ago, the week that Cohen got hurt,
Yep.
he had gotten an extension game day.
Yeah, exactly.
Game
So
day.
you want to pay
Cohen,
Dereck Cohen
a 3-year extension.
a decent back.
Right.
I like
You don't
He's
wanna
a flash
pay-
guy, but he's not like consistent.
he's
But
like-
you don't want to pay Allen Robinson.
Yeah,
Right.
he's like the guy who was in Philadelphia.
Derek Sproles.
Yeah, like
Literally
that
him.
type of guy.
Literally him.
Which is why, so obviously, you can say what Jordan Howard didn't fit the offense.
Yeah, man.
But at the same time, he was a back that got 900 yards under an offense that he wasn't
Right.
meant for.
Right.
And then you have Tariq Cohen, who again can't be your starting running back.
No.
And then you draft a rookie, and I like what he's
Yeah,
done.
I like Monty. No, second.
Second year.
But still, it's just like,
He's shown flash. The problem, because like the first 3 weeks,
yeah.
he had 120, 130, 140 yards
Mhm.
rushing behind an atrocious offensive line. Atrocious.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, okay, so maybe our offensive line is fixed the first 3 weeks of the game, or first
Yeah.
3 weeks of the season. And Monty's looking good. And what I like about him, he's a fighter. He
Right.
never gets taken down the first hit. He's
Right.
always, but then lately now, because of how bad the offensive line is, it's like he'll make a catch out of the backfield and he'll break the first tackle. Then it's like, right as soon as he breaks that first tackle, there's already another dude right there that is going to take him down. So it's just like,
Right.
God, so
It's
like
not
now
all
he's
his
going to get, and it's not all his fault, but
Not all
for
his
that
fault.
same reason, because I know how critics are just in media in general,
Right.
he's going to get labeled a bust, and
Yeah.
the ultimate reason why the Bears will be seen as losing the Khalil Mack trade, because Montgomery is a part of that.
So I don't want to cut you off, but
Right.
if you don't win anything with Khalil Mack,
Right.
would you consider that a losing that trade, even if he has individual success?
I have to wait to see what the Raiders do on
Yeah.
their end, because they got Josh Jacobs.
Right. Let's say Josh Jacobs by 2023 is top 2 back in the league,
Mhm.
and Ruggs is basically the next big thing.
Right.
And NFL. But let's say both of the teams don't success-wise don't deliver.
Win us championship,
But you
the
have
Raiders do
Ruggs and Jacobs playing at a high level.
better. And the
And
Bears.
it's almost, it'll be like a situation where it's almost like Max is going to be great, obviously, individually, but
Mhm.
the two of them together,
Yeah.
the quality is like, would you consider, if that's the situation, would you consider it?
I feel like
Because just to say this,
I thought you gave up too much draft capital because look, if you have Pat Mahomes and you have Deshaun Watson, that trade means nothing because you already have your quarterback. My issue with at the time, and I think we've discussed this in the past, I didn't like how many picks they gave up to get him, and it's a defensive player.
Right.
Usually you don't have to give up that many picks to get one of those.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I know he was great and stuff like that, but the issue I had was how many draft picks they gave up.
Yeah, 2 first-round draft picks and like a third or fourth.
You could have drafted a quarterback in each of these 3.
Right.
It's over now, right?
Yeah.
Thank goodness, because you're going to need to address that as well.
Right.
But I just felt like the amount of picks they gave up for that
was
just, it's too much to overcome because you're a team without franchise quarterback. Nick Foles can do a job, but I just don't see him as long-term.
I don't either. No, I never did.
Either.
He can get hot at certain times. He had a season where he had 27 touchdowns, 2 picks. Then he had the year of Minnesota close to the Super Bowl where he did the thing against Tom Brady. But you get what I'm saying, though?
Yeah, and he had the one game in Philly where he threw 7 touchdowns.
Against the Raiders, though.
Yeah, and the Raiders were horrible then.
Yeah.
But I feel like ultimately it'll be about 50-50.
Yeah.
I feel like if they end up Ruggs and Jacobs end up having playing at a very high level.
Yeah.
If both teams don't win, but they're playing at a high level. Okay, I'll probably give a little bit of the edge to the Raiders for that reason alone, that they won the Khalil Mack trade. Because I feel like Khalil Mack alone, he's still playing at a high level himself. He's not getting all of the numbers, but obviously he's still a game-changing presence on the team. And the defense as a whole, the Bears defense as a whole, it's just the offense.
No, it's totally the offense, which brings me segue into this. You're 5-2.
So
Again, it could be 5 could be the end of it.
Yeah.
But I think you're better than the Vikings, personally.
Right.
I think the Vikings are absolutely horrendous, Pedro.
This year, yes, they are.
Pretty bad.
I mean, they got, what are they, 1 win?
Yeah.
They beat the Texans, right?
Yeah.
So,
good for you.
my question is, this is a big dilemma I have with the Bears.
Yeah.
They need a quarterback, and if they're too good, they ain't gonna get one of the ones that.
Here's my problem with the Bears. Not only that, I feel like Foles would be better because watching that Ram game, Jalen Ramsey, who's widely regarded as one of the best, if not the best corner in the league.
Yeah, I disagree with that, but go on.
Right. That's just what I hear. So he got smoked on 2 routes. One was by Mooney for sure. I think maybe both were by Mooney. And the Bears, what the Rams did really well, their punter put the Bears every punt on the 5, on the 2, on the 1.
He's so good.
Yeah.
He's like the Pat McAfee
right
now.
Yeah, literally every punt. And so the Bears are backed up against their own goal line.
Right.
The Bears offensive, my biggest issue, we could win better with a better offensive line.
Yeah, for sure.
For the most part.
Okay, so what do you value more at this point? Is offensive line your number 1 priority?
Ultimately, right now. I feel like we'll have more success offensively. Quarterback will still be we'll still definitely need a quarterback, but Foles or Trubisky don't have any time behind that offensive line.
No.
So you could, like I said, when I walked in the door, you could put Russell Wilson behind that offensive line.
Yeah.
He's not doing anything.
No.
Right.
Not doing anything. And it was, I forgot what game it was. It was 2 weeks ago, coming into either the Colts. It was Nick Foles' first or second start. Mitchell Trubisky had more passing yards, had 1 more touchdown. They had the same amount of interceptions. Mitchell Trubisky had a better completion percentage. Right. Going into Nick Foles, it was his second start. So I'm like, and I got into a shootout match, like vocal match. With his cousin. Oh my God. With his cousin, like Nick Foles is a superior God quarterback because everybody talks about how he won the Super Bowl in 2017.
Right.
And he just has this thing where
that's BS. You can have a moment.
Right.
Nick Foles got hot in that playoff run.
Right.
That doesn't mean he's better than Tom Brady.
Right.
That doesn't mean he's better than
Right.
He's not. If he wasn't starting, he's not even the best backup.
Exactly.
I mean, honestly, because
Because and then I got into the whole thing with him was Nick Foles, when he went down to Jacksonville.
What happened?
He got hurt week 1.
Yeah.
On his first, I think the first play on offense.
Yeah.
and he was taken out. He was out for like 7 weeks. Gardner Minshew came in
and
played well.
His job.
Yeah, stole his job. Then they were like, okay, well, let's try to go back to Nick Foles.
That was dumb.
He looked like shit, utter shit. And then he lost his starting job to Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
So, you know.
For people who don't know, he was a 7th-round draft pick. He went to 2 different schools. He wasn't, I mean, it's a great story, obviously, but it's not like you got Tua back there waiting to take your job. You had a 6th-round draft pick who wasn't even expected to make the roster.
Right. And then on top of it, he had purposely broken his hand to try, because there was some loophole. He took a hammer and he was really drunk and tried to he broke his hand or whatever the story was. So then he could go back and finish playing college ball and then try to come back to the NFL.
What an idiot.
So
Do you really do that?
Yeah. So
Minshew, right? Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, Bobby was the one that told me.
Why would you do that?
Right. So because there was some loophole in that where if he got to a point, there was some loophole where he could go back and play college for another year or 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then come back to the NFL.
Right.
But yeah, Nick Foles had lost his job, and so all the Bears fans are like, "Oh my God, we're going to go 11-5 now because we just got Nick Foles from the Jaguars." And I'm just like,
you weren't part of that, right?
No, I was not. I was like, my highest expectation was 10-6. Lowest point 8-8.
All right, I have one more thing on Nick Foles.
Yeah.
You were looking for a quarterback last summer.
Yep.
What would have been out of the ones? And to be honest, they weren't great. There weren't a lot that was great that was available.
Yeah.
From that perspective of where you were at that time, what was your what did you want? Did you want them to
Teddy Bridgewater?
Yeah, I wanted Teddy really
and
bad.
the messed up part about it, Teddy Bridgewater had went to Chicago, and their news had basically broke that he signed.
Yep.
So because I had a status, Teddy Bridgewater just signed with the Bears. Then it turns out he just signed with the Panthers.
Delete.
Yeah, I'm like, I guess that didn't age well within the last, because it said he had went to Chicago and basically he signed the contract basically.
Yeah.
But I guess Panthers offered him more money, so then that's what ultimately.
Yeah, good on. And Teddy statistically isn't putting up a great year, but completion percentage is.
And he's a student of the game. He's really good with the football.
Yes, but he is hitting career highs in several categories.
Yeah.
So and remember, he won 5-0 with the Saints.
Yep.
And if they had stuck with him, the season might have ended differently. I'm not suggesting that it was the wrong thing to put Drew Brees back in.
Right.
But he had the hot hand.
Yeah, he did.
So, and I totally agree with you. I think Teddy was the best. I mean, it was a weak QB class.
Yeah.
I think Cam Newton's done a pretty good job, at least at the beginning in New England.
In the beginning, the last couple of weeks. So
I didn't like him in Chicago just because of, it's nothing personal.
Right.
I've never been high on Cam Newton, so I mean.
And a lot of people are, and I don't get it.
I don't get it either. But here's the thing. He would have been something. It would have been excitement.
Right.
But I don't think it would have been any better. He's not good at throwing the football.
No.
If you look at his career, he has that 1 year we had 35-10 and then rush for whatever. And his rookie year was good.
Yeah.
If you take those two, those years out.
Average quarterback.
It's like a Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah.
Not different.
Right.
It's like Miami Ryan Tannehill.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I thought that the Teddy made the most sense based on everything that gone on, but when they had Nick Foles, I'm like, it's better than Cam, but it just doesn't seem like it. It seems like Trubisky 2.0.
The only reason I was behind Nick Foles that I went from 8-8 to 10-6 because we got Bill DiFilippo or John DiFilippo and Bill
coordinator in Philadelphia.
Right. He succeeded under those two guys. So I was like, okay. But I'm like, we still got to play the Packers twice. Everybody's expecting the Packers and the Vikings to duke it out for the division right now.
Yep.
So I was looking at that. I was looking at our schedule, and I was like,
There's a lot of leeway though because you finished third in the division last year.
Yeah.
So you had a third place schedule.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the Vikings are awful. They have a hard schedule.
Right.
The Packers are. I don't buy the Packers.
Right.
But
I don't either.
I think Aaron Rodgers is having a good year, and that's the only nice thing I'm saying about Aaron Rodgers. But and I think he's starting to have a little bit of maturity, which I like.
Yeah.
But the team itself isn't designed to go on a deep run.
No.
And I think there might be 3 Packer fans on earth who kind of realize that.
Right.
Where everyone says, "Oh, he throws 4
If
touchdowns.
that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he's got those 4 touchdowns against the
Lions, the
the
Vikings.
Super Bowl champion Vikings, the elite
Oh.
Detroit Lions.
So Super Bowl champion Vikings.
Yep.
Come on, man.
The
Yep.
future Hall of Fame champion Houston. You know.
Texans, right.
So and I'm not saying he's not having a great season. He is, but
Right.
it's also based on the fact that he's playing
Like
a bunch
really
of
poor
defense.
defenses.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And the one time
I
he played a
said the
good
same thing.
defense, he looked awful.
Oh my God. Because he threw the one pick. The first pick was a pick 6. And
Yeah.
he threw the second pick that was almost a pick 6.
Yeah.
And then that team, after those 2 pick 6s, the Packers were just dead.
And then he has all these and it's not his fault. If you're
Yeah.
great, people are gonna like you. He
Right.
has all these fanboys in the media as well.
Yeah.
Like, like Stephen A.
Uh-huh.
Aaron Rodgers could throw 4 interceptions in a game, and he would say, with that offensive line, that receiver, stuff like that. But,
He'll make
so
the
there's a lot of
excuse.
people like that, but I just don't think the Packers are all that good. Yeah, but Shannon Sharp isn't as
Bad as Stephen A. Yeah.
Yeah.
When it comes to Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, with
Rodgers.
Or like Joe
bad
Buck.
man.
Yeah. Or like the Joe Bucks and Chris Collinsworth.
Yeah, I get that stuff, and I think Shannon likes Aaron Rodgers, but he likes Pat Mahomes a whole lot more.
Right.
So
My homeboy.
yeah. So with the Packers, you're in an interesting situation because I've watched a bunch of games.
Mhm.
I have a busy schedule, so I haven't watched everything.
Right.
But I've watched a fair bit because I'm also watching college football. So, but
Yeah. You watch a lot of
so
sports.
that's why I wanted you because I know you're watching the Bears every week.
Yeah.
I'm watching games
Yeah.
every weekend,
Right.
but I'm also watching those highlights of a lot of games,
Right.
like the long.
Yeah, exactly.
So what I've noticed is it seems like there's an avenue for you to actually to take the division and potentially even if things align, go to sort of a bye. So my question is about that is that the road you want? And I'm against tanking just by the very institute,
Mm-hmm.
but
I am too.
there are 2, maybe 3 quarterbacks in this draft that are worth tanking for.
Yeah.
I would go
0-16.
0-16 for Trevor Lawrence.
Mm-hmm.
I would go 1-15 for Justin Fields.
Right.
And if because Trey Lance has only played 1 game this season,
Yeah.
I would kind of hope that he dips down
Right.
because that's the guy I think the Bears should try to get.
And I've seen a lot of mock drafts where the Bears take Trey Lance. Actually.
Yeah, it's just his ceiling is so big though
Mm-hmm.
that I feel like you're gonna have to not be very good to get Trey
Right.
Lance.
But I feel like because, like you said, he's only played 1 game, I feel like he will fall.
He will fall a little bit, but and it's just one of these things where like you're in a situation where you can make the playoffs and have to search for a quarterback for the next 3 years.
Yep.
Or you could try to button it. I'm not saying lose on purpose,
Mm-hmm.
but don't make any big moves or adjustments. Don't try to be a genius and try to make, you know what I mean? So for me, it's difficult because the question here is whether or not you feel like you can get high enough in the draft where you could, I don't know what you'd have to give up, but give something up to try to get one of these quarterbacks because I thought that this season, this is the year for the Bears to just totally tank it.
Yeah.
So when I saw you play so poorly in that first game against it was
The Lions. Yeah.
where you looked horrible.
And then the fourth quarter just.
Because I'm like, dude, because I've been harsh on the Bears the last couple of years, but
Yeah.
I want if I could pick Trevor Lawrence to go to a team, I'm picking the Bears, man.
Right.
Because Trevor Lawrence is the best college quarterback since Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
And he's gonna. I think he'll probably win the Heisman Trophy. I mean, in terms of Andrew Luck is the best in terms of a prospect.
Mm-hmm.
I
wanted Andrew Luck the year that he was coming out of college.
And then he gave 3 interceptions in his rookie debut.
Yep.
But I think Trevor Lawrence, you can't miss, and Justin Fields. So let me put it this way: I think Trevor Lawrence is the best prospect this season.
I agree.
Justin Fields is playing at an unreal level, and I know it's only been a short amount of games. But the problem with winning is then because I think you're drafting a quarterback in the first round, regardless.
We have to.
So then your options shrink after Trey Lance.
Yeah.
Trey Lance is it's sort of a prayer.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you're not going to beat out the Giants or the Jets for those first 2.
Right.
Because
they're going to get
Giants
and
the Giants may not do it.
Yeah.
Because Danny.
They like Danny.
Danny has done enough to say that I'm not so bad where you need someone to replace me.
Not a Josh Rosen.
But it's just like Trevor, you're not getting. I mean, sad as it is, and I wanted you to get. I don't want him playing on the Jets.
Right.
Because
that's a dysfunctional franchise.
I hope he just goes
that
back
is
to college.
such a
I hope he goes back to college.
right. That is such a dysfunctional franchise.
Then Justin Fields is possible, but you'd have to do a lot to get up
Yeah.
that high. And then you're looking at Trey Lance, I think, is still unlikely. So then you're looking at the quarterback of Florida who has potential, but there's a risk factor there.
Right.
One at Georgia. I'm sorry, I can't think of the names off the top of my head. And then Sam Ehlinger is an interesting one. I think he could be that guy. And if you're drafting like 18th, or if you could even get him in the beginning of the second round, then maybe that's something to look at. But for me, I think, and I feel bad because you guys deserve to be in the playoffs.
Right.
Making the playoffs this season is just, I feel, too risky to what you're going to sabotage yourself with.
Yeah.
So it's like, would you rather go into the playoffs and get pounced, unless you play the Cowboys?
Yeah. Yeah, because somebody out of that division has got to make it sad.
Yeah.
Right.
And they just got whooped by the Washington football team before I finished.
And now, now the what do you call it? The Eagles aren't very good either.
Right.
The Giants aren't very good either.
No.
The Redskins are, so someone's gonna get a gift.
Washington football team.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. But it just feels like it's almost like making the playoffs is leaving too much up to chance.
Yep.
And I'm not saying vocally tank, but you just never know what you're gonna get.
Right.
Justin Herbert would have been the number one pick. He'd have been a top 2 pick last year.
Yep.
And he didn't drop that far. He dropped to 6.
Yeah.
He comes in his first game and he
outplays Mahomes.
He had a few throws in that game that it's like, but he was told basically a minute before.
You're playing.
But he was so good. So even if you could get in a top 10 quarterback where somebody in there looks like and we'll see by the end of the season whether or not you're going to be in a position to because we'll see what these quarterbacks look like. But I know we've been talking about 2 minutes straight, but looking at it from that perspective, do you feel like going to the playoffs is, as much as it would be great, is it a risk because of
oh God, yeah. And I feel like if we do, we get knocked out wild card round. My other issue with the Bears this year, play calling. Yeah. 3rd and 12. Let's throw a screen play. How many times does that work? Right. We'll throw Matt Nagy's play calling from 2019, from last year and this year.
Yeah.
Horrible. When he was getting weird and schematic in 2018 and throwing everybody around, he'll have defensive players on offense, and he did it a limited amount of times. It worked. It worked great. That's why we were 12-4.
Right.
But then he went to getting a little too cute last year, and this year he's trying to run a lot of screens.
So what I mean, and I'm not trying to assume anything. Are you ready to move on from Matt Nagy? Do you think he's the main problem here?
I think him still being the play caller. I think he's a good coach.
I totally agree.
I think he's a good coach, but he needs to stop play calling.
Yeah.
I need him away from play calling because time management, and then when the Bears do get into a rhythm, he takes off the players that are doing good, and then he'll throw in with Dereck going down. We have 2 running backs. Well, we have 2 running backs, and we have Cordero Patterson in the backfield.
He's basically manipulating the momentum of the game.
That, and it's just if we have 2 running backs and Cordero Patterson taking snaps at running back, we only see Montgomery and Patterson in the backfield.
Yeah. Where's
the other running back?
Neither one of them
running back.
Right. So the reason I'm really vouching for Ryan Nall, who's our backup, technically with Cohen hurt, he's the 3rd string running back. Yeah, he's a preseason darling because the 2 preseasons he's played in, the 2 different seasons.
Wait, so this is a player?
Yeah, this is a player.
I was thinking this was a coach. Sorry.
No, Ryan Nall is our 3rd string running back. And all the preseason games last season and the season before.
Yeah.
The guy puts up numbers. The guy breaks. He's a big dude who can run.
Right.
Big white dude who can run. Right. And he powers over dudes. He's fast. Why don't we use him?
So he's not getting a lot of touches then.
He's not getting any. No. He's a special teams player right now. And I'm so if your only options at running back are Montgomery, Nall, which should be, and Patterson, why are we only seeing Monty? And then we'll see, because when teams see Cordell Patterson in the backfield. They're not thinking him as in the running back spot in the formation.
They're thinking like one of those screens or like the YR thing where they swoop.
Yeah, right. They're not thinking he's going to run up the middle.
Do you also think you need another running back too?
Yeah.
So let me say, and I know draft stuff more than you guys, but would you like to see you go offense all the way through next season in the draft?
I would like to see quarterback, O-lineman, running back. I really like Cole Kmet. The few bits and pieces I've seen of Cole Kmet already this year.
Yeah.
The catch he made against the Rams. I don't know if you saw that big game.
Yeah.
The fact he caught it.
Yeah.
Broke a couple tackles and kept going.
And remember, draft night, I was raving about that. Too.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. You were like, that's your best draft pick in the last 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Something like that.
Right. So I really like the kid.
He's just not being used enough.
No, and he had that amazing touchdown catch. I don't know how he caught it against the Panthers. The first.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
He brought it down. He had 3 dudes on him, and he somehow caught it. And I was just like,
right.
What? Wait a minute.
I like that upgraded.
Right. So I like our receiver, Anthony Miller. I like him a lot. He's had a couple games where it's just like, okay. He's kind of the new Taylor Gabriel, because Taylor Gabriel 2 years ago, he would have a game where he'd catch 3 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. Next week you don't even see him.
Right.
So it's just like,
he's an interesting one because I saw him at Memphis.
Yeah.
I liked the pick at the time.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I still do.
Right.
Because it's too much inconsistency, and this goes for all sports, whether it's soccer, football, baseball, whatever.
Yeah.
If you have this player where you have to, it's one of those things like, it's like, if he could play like that every week, we'd be amazing.
Yeah.
But he just doesn't have that consistency where it's like, I know, that this guy I can count on.
Yeah.
And he's not Allen Robinson, obviously the guy right now, but it just feels like he's got everything. Because at Memphis he was just a freak athlete doing all kinds of things. And now and I don't think it's necessarily his fault or anybody's really. Right. But he just hasn't caught that momentum. And I'm not.
You might want to turn the light on.
Yeah, it's a little dark.
All right.
Yeah.
Also, I'm getting a little cold.
There we go.
A lot better. But yeah, no. And the thing relating to inconsistency and momentum. Yeah. When I was ranting and raving about Trubisky in 18, the game he threw 6 touchdowns. I knew for a fact he would throw 2 the next week.
And what did he do?
He might have thrown 2. I knew he threw 2 picks too.
Yeah.
Hold on, before you continue, I baited both of you in one of my vote greatest posts of all time. Yeah. Because I said, Bus is about to break the touchdown.
Right.
I
was joking, but the fact that you guys got so mad, I thought it was hilarious. But, but I know the game you're talking about. He was unbelievable.
Yeah, he threw 5 touchdowns in the first half, then he threw the 6th one in the third and fourth quarter. Because I was watching, we were at your dad's house.
Yep. That was James Winston's first start of that season, right? Yeah. Because I remember he was fumbling throwing picks.
Right, because Ryan Fitzpatrick had thrown. Yeah. I was thinking we were going to lose that game going into it. I remember because Fitzpatrick, the first 3 weeks of the season, threw 400 yards and 3 touchdowns and no interceptions.
That is Ryan Fitzpatrick.
You get hot for 4 weeks. Yeah. And he'll throw picks in 3 straight weeks.
Yeah. Right.
This is actually, and I'm going to actually ask you about that eventually.
Right.
That's why this has actually been probably his best season.
Yeah. It has.
Because he's got 10 touchdowns. I think he's got around 6 interceptions.
Right. And he's thrown for 1,500 yards.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just interesting. Actually, let's segue to that. I know Tua can play. Yeah. He's phenomenal. Mm-hmm. But what did you think about him getting benched while he's playing this well?
Well, I know. Right. I don't agree. If a player's I'll let you answer after I give this bit. If Fitzpatrick is playing that well, I know at some point you want to bring in Tua. That was the whole point of drafting him. I get all of that. But you did it super late in the game for one. Mm-hmm. He came out for a few snaps in the fourth quarter. Yeah. And that was it. And then you're like, okay.
He did 2 passes for 9 yards.
Right. And they're like, okay, so Tua's going to be the starting quarterback. And I was just like,
it's not like seeing Justin Herbert him throw for 3 touchdowns and 300 yards.
Right. This was literally
2. And here's the problem with this. I'm going to let you answer in a second, but I just want to say this. Tua is one of the greatest statistical quarterbacks in the history of college football.
Mm-hmm.
He's also had 2 bad injuries.
Yes.
The idea of drafting with the 5th overall pick is to sit him the entire year.
Yeah.
I don't want him taking a snap.
Mm-hmm.
And now so I think the problem is now, I don't agree with it,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm thinking maybe the thinking is, what if Ryan Fitzpatrick takes us in the playoffs and we win a game?
Mm-hmm.
How are we going to go to 2 after that? I think that's the only logic around.
But Fitzpatrick is also like on the verge of retiring, probably.
Still.
Right. He's getting up there.
Yeah.
But you've seen this before with like Case Keenum in Minnesota. He
Right.
ended Teddy Bridgewater era there because he was
Teddy
hot.
got hurt, and then like the next year, it was a career. It was a contract year for Bridgewater, Keenum, and they had 3 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And they just let them all go.
Yeah.
Keenum was out, then Bridgewater went to New Orleans, obviously.
That's
I forgot
the
who
only
the third
logic.
guy was.
I don't. Anyway, what were you gonna say? What do you think about this?
About the Tua situation.
I was shocked they brought him in.
Yeah.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
It's all right, man.
Sorry.
Oh, good.
No, I agree. I just think.
I think Fitzpatrick's a solid quarterback.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah.
I am so surprised he played on what 900 teams.
Yeah, pretty much.
What the Bills,
These
the
guys-
Jets, the Dolphins.
He's beaten Tom Brady as all of his division rivals.
He has.
He went to Harvard. Did you know that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Close he played for.
Bills.
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay.
Yep. I'm gonna look right now at all of his teams.
He's kind of like Josh McCown, but way better.
Right.
Right, because McCown only does good when he's in a Bears uniform.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
The Jets, the Dolphins, the Bills, the Buccaneers,
He was drafted by the Rams in 05. Then played there for a year. Played for the Bengals for a year. Played for the Bills for 3 years. Played for the Titans for a year.
Titans, that was the other one.
Played for the Texans for a year. Played for the
Oh yeah,
Jets.
he threw 6 while he was on the Texans.
Yep. Played for the Jets for 2 years. Played for the Bucks for okay, so Jets and Bucks, I say correctly, was 1 season.
Yeah.
And now he's with the Dolphins. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams.
I mean,
He's
in
played
fairness,
for literally 8, 16, 24.
in
A
fairness,
quarter of the league.
You're right. In
That's
fairness,
insane.
Mm-hmm.
in fairness to him though, when he was in Buffalo, he had seen him a year, but he threw for like 20+ touchdowns. So
Yeah.
Right.
he's a cake. I like Tua. I think if he's healthy, he's the best quarterback in this draft with Justin Herbert. Before going in, just to clarify, I had Justin Herbert, Tua was this, and then I had Love, and then Joe Burrow. And I don't even remember. Those are the only 3 of ones that mattered. But I think Tua, if healthy, is a problem. But I don't feel good about this because I feel like
He's going to get
the
hurt.
point was to draft him was to sit him a whole year.
Right.
And then when he's ready, he's ready. But
Like
now,
what the Chiefs did with Mahomes.
if he gets hurt, this is bad because this guy has potential to be amazing in the NFL level. I believe him in more than others, but at the same time, if he's healthy, I actually think, just to throw some shade at another divisional opponent of yours, I thought the Lions were stupid not to take him at 3. I thought, okay, so I was, so this is the thing about Matt Stafford. I'm going to quote the great Shannon Sharp. They were talking about him on Undisputed, about this list of players who were 30 over, who were the best yet, whatever.
Yeah.
And Shannon was saying, somebody needs to explain to me, like I'm 7.
Yeah.
What the heck does everyone see in Matt Stafford? Because I don't get it. Like Rod Parker calls him Pat Stafford.
Yeah.
Because
Pat Stafford.
he has Hall of Fame numbers,
Yeah.
but he doesn't have a lot of quality wins. And I think he's a tough quarterback. I think he's a good quarterback.
He is good.
He
Sure.
And he's
deserves
definitely
the
tough.
best.
Yeah.
But if there was ever a time to pull a plug, not pull a plug, but to set up the future, is drafting Tua. And then if you don't want Matt Stafford next year, you can. I I don't know if you get a first round pick.
No, you wouldn't. Not for a 36-year-old Stafford. No.
But you could get something for him.
I'd say they get like a fourth to a sixth round pick for him.
Yeah, and there's been some really amazing fourth round picks out there.
Eddie Jackson.
Yeah.
Eddie Jackson, the questionably the best safety in the league, not named Harrison Smith.
Right.
Yeah, and then sixth round pick, 199, Tom Brady.
Yep, exactly.
But there's a lot of them. There was like you'll appreciate it. So remember
Aaron Jones was taken in the fifth round.
Yeah.
Do you remember the wide receiver that was with Drew Brees the first Super Bowl, Marquise Colston?
I love Colston.
He was like a seventh round pick.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Mm-hmm. And I think Dereck Henderson was a late round pick too.
If you're smart, you know where these guys are.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, from a math point of view, and I'm not saying I'm a genius, but according to Madam Gladwell, it makes no sense to trade up.
Right.
Because of the value of the situation. But
yeah.
I just thought Tua would be a good player to put in Detroit. They haven't won anything, and there was something to be excited about. And I know the NFL group that we're in.
Yeah, the Renegades.
That one guy would have lost his, you know what?
Right.
Because they
Detroit?
I don't know what the guy's name is.
The Lions fan or
He's got a big beard.
The Lions fan?
Yeah,
Chris?
the Lions fan. Yeah, Chris. Chris. Yeah.
Because I was arguing with him and somebody else about should take Tua.
Right.
But I just thought it was, he was a good cornerback. I don't like drafting a defensive back that high.
Yeah, that high, no.
Running back and defensive backs, I'm not picking in the top 10
no.
Unless you're Reeves Island. Because Reeves Island, Pittsburgh was worthy of that pick. Deion Sanders was worthy of that pick. But he was good at Ohio State. No doubt about it. But at 5, if you're not going to take if you're going to take a cornerback, you should just trade out and slide down a few spots.
Speaking of that, because the Lions had taken Jeff Okudah, Bears and after Cole Kmet, they took Jalen Johnson.
Yeah.
Jalen Johnson, among rookies, is first amongst rookie corners.
Yeah.
In ranking when pass coverage, pass deflections, all of that. I'm really liking Jalen Johnson. There's been a couple moments where he's look definitely rookie, but he almost damn near looks like a veteran. Like he's playing at a good level, and amongst like some veterans, he's better than some like solid veterans right now as well.
Yeah.
So the Bears had taken him second pick, number I think it was like 46.
Yeah.
It was 50. Yeah. Cole Kmet was 46 and he was 50.
Yeah, because you didn't have a first, right?
Right. Yeah. Which this is going back to drafting, how when we were talking about the Trubisky beat and how he was taken so high in the first round. And I brought up how many first rounders actually work out. Yeah. I look at what Ryan Pace and the last 2 GMs of the Bears have done in the first round. And then I was honestly glad we didn't have a first round pick.
Yeah, I get that. But I think he's better than what he had before. When you and me went to Frazier back in the day, you had what's his name? Do you know what I'm talking about?
The corner or the
no, the GM. Who gave Brandon Marshall that money? And Jay Cutler 120.
And I can't stand the person. Yeah, Phil Emery. Phil Emery.
He was so bad.
Yeah, he was.
He gave Jay Cutler 6 years, 127.
Yeah, I know. I was mad.
It's just like
he had one playoff game. He didn't even win it.
And don't get me started on a game against the Packers when he's the Brian place.
Right.
I mean,
and then he was apparently, I just found this out because he had left the game or whatever. Caleb Haney had to come in. Then he threw a pick 6 to BJ Raji. How do you throw?
Remind me.
How do you throw a pick 6
Aaron
to
Rodgers
no tackle?
Wasn't even shredding in that game.
No,
because he doesn't shred anybody in an NFC Championship game because he has the worst combined stance of the history of that game.
Right. Exactly. So Caleb Haney came in, and then Jay Cutler apparently, I still haven't really looked into it. Apparently, was seen like dancing at a club later that night in Chicago downtown. After that game, so
it's like J.R. Smith drinking Hennessy at the club, and then
after that,
before the game, and then going to play the Boston Celtics in playoffs.
Right, and then LeBron's looking at him like, "What are you doing?" But yeah, first rounders typically don't work out in general for the NFL history.
Yeah.
For the more often than not,
the league is undrafted.
Right. Exactly. Right now,
the Hall of Famer though, going to be on Hall of Famer on Philadelphia offensive tackle.
Yeah, Jason Peters.
Drafted.
Right. Yeah.
So it's just you look at these guys, and then I think if you need a quarterback, you got to take him in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't need and I'm just being honest, I think if you don't need a quarterback, trade out. Because there's no other reason to because you can get draft capital.
Yep.
I think long term, Indiana had the best pick in the entire draft. It hasn't clicked yet, but this Jonathan Taylor from Wisconsin is an absolute monster.
What?
And they traded out the first round like in every year. Chris Ball's a genius, and they got him at that spot, and they had a whole bunch of other picks to use.
Right. One thing I was mad because initially I was mad, like I mentioned before we went on there. I was mad we even drafted Trubisky. Like I understood, there was a lot of good critiques on him, and there was like some bad ones on him.
Yeah.
Who I really wanted was Quentin Nelson, who you just mentioned went to the Colts. That's who I really wanted.
No, that he was.
Yeah, I know.
He should have been rookie of the year.
Yeah.
I don't care that he plays offensive line. He should have been rookie of the year.
I love Quentin Nelson. Absolutely, he is a dog on the offensive line, and he proved that when we played the Colts this year.
Yeah.
I love Quentin Nelson. Yeah, and hindsight's always 20/20. Yeah. So yeah, we'd love to have Mahomes or Watson, either one.
Yeah.
But behind the Bears offensive line 2020, I don't care who you are, you're not succeeding behind the offensive line.
No, absolutely, you're on the money with that. But again, I still go back to that draft. You still got to take Watson. I don't care if he looks like crap for 2 years. And Watson ended up in a worse situation.
Yeah, and he ended up.
I'm actually worried about his career because if you remember Andrew Luck was driving a car on the way to the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
But the first 3 years of his career,
he got beaten.
He got beaten down, and the GM didn't surround them.
Nope.
With anything else.
Exactly.
And they were just drilled into. The game against the Broncos. Specifically, he was getting destroyed.
Yeah.
And then he retires at 29 years old.
And everybody's like shocked, and then you get the people who are shocked, and then the people are like, dude, you're 29, you could keep going. Like, and these are fans. I'm like,
how about you keep going?
Right. How about you go out there for him under that offensive line and tell me how well, because part of the, fans are fanatic. Yeah. So we have all these expectations because we're all selfish. Yeah. We're all selfish, and we're all biased because that's the whole point of being a fan. But from people currently living in that, and the people who were there and part of it, you kind of have to understand them. And the way the NFL works now, we get heartbroken when we lose our favorite players and stuff like that. At the end of the day. But you understand it's a business at the end of the day.
Look, you guys are actually, in some sense, the way the NFL works is actually good because you can keep a player for 4, 5, 6 years. In other sports, not gonna say which, you can leave every year.
Yeah.
Based on the price tag that someone's willing to pay for you.
Yeah.
You can literally go you can play in the next 3 years, you can play on 3 different teams. The NFL, the way it works, and by the way, I actually think that way's it wouldn't work in the NFL, but I think the way transfers work, I think the money, the freedom of the player part would actually be good for the NFL. You should be able to, at any point, be total trading.
Yeah.
If they're going to trade me to the Raiders or something,
I
don't want to go to the Raiders. I think the players should be allowed to say no. No, thank you. But I think the way it works, it's just interesting because I just feel like that it works in a different sense just because of how everything's kind of constructed, and especially with the whole loyalty thing.
Yeah.
You at least get them for 4 or 5 years.
Exactly.
You're not always going to get someone who's going to stay there the whole career.
No.
That never happens. And that's why you got to think of this Robinson thing in the same way.
Right.
It's a business, and I just have a bad feeling that he's going to end up on a division rival.
I hope it's not a division rival. I'm pretty sure because I know how Bears management is.
I don't think he'll go to the Packers, but I think it's possible he could end up with one of the other teams.
I feel like it'd be the Lions more so than the Vikings.
I think that's exactly what I was thinking about.
Right.
And I don't think the Vikings would, they needed a quarterback before.
Kirk Cousins, the first year they went 8-7-1.
Yeah.
And he looked bad, and everybody was trying to have him.
Last year, people were saying he's good now.
Yeah, everybody's like, "Oh, he's a Pro Bowler, man. We're going to the Super Bowl."
Let me ask you this, and you've been watching the NFL a long time, so you'll appreciate this one. Would you rather have Andy Dalton the years he was in Cincinnati and in his prime, or Kirk Cousins?
I'd rather have Andy.
Exactly. Andy Dalton.
Exactly. And they're the same, and they're all just different.
Right.
Andy Dalton can they both can't perform in the big game.
Right.
Monday Night Football.
And Andy Dalton went to the playoffs, 4 or 5 times,
Yeah.
and then got kicked out first round by the Texans, and half of them.
Yeah. So it's just like, there's that, and then Andy Dalton, Kirk Cousins puts up stats.
He puts up.
I don't care about stats that much.
Right.
It's like someone looking at a list of stats. Oh, he's the best quarterback in the league because he's got the most touchdowns.
Right.
That doesn't mean much.
But he could be. I mean, half of those could be to defensive backs that were drafted in the 7th round.
Right.
So it's just there's so many things about the NFL that's confusing and things. And I want to get back to the Bears thing, but
yeah,
we've always talked about this. I want to talk about the Hall of Fame thing, right?
Right.
Because it feels like everyone gets in. And interesting thing, and I just want to see how you feel about this. I feel like the NFL should be. So there's a few problems I have with the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the Hall of Fame in general, but you have it. With the Hall of Fame, I don't feel like you should have to wait 8, 9 years to get in.
Right.
Yeah, your first year of eligibility, I think, is after 7 years.
I feel like if you're a Hall of Fame,
I don't understand that.
You should just get in.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't have to wait.
Right.
Secondly, look, if you say name Tom Brady, Hall of Famer, right?
Yeah.
If you say
he's got to wait till he's retired and
if you say Adrian Peterson, Hall of Famer, Brian Urlacher, Hall of Famer.
Yep.
If you have my thing about the Hall of Fame is if you have to think about it, he's not.
Yeah.
Eli Manning, I have to think about it.
Right.
Which means he's not.
Right.
So, how do you?
Or if it's just based off him in the playoffs.
Yeah. And same. Julian Edelman.
Right.
You gotta think about it.
Right.
And I'm not saying he's not, but if you have to think about it, then he's not. And my question for you is do you think that's part of sort of the way it works? Or how do you view that the way it's sort of?
I like the NFL Hall of Fame partially because it's partially I have a love-hate relationship with the fact that it's 7 people every year.
That's stupid.
If you can think of more, put more in. If you can't think of 7 to put in, don't put them in.
My thing is just put them all in.
Right.
If you're a Hall of Famer, just go in.
Right.
You should be able to when Tom Brady retires,
mm-hmm.
he should just be able to schedule his Hall of Fame ceremony.
Right.
They shouldn't have to be some voting to determine.
Right.
And
I don't think there's going to be a voting issue.
Yeah.
I just think it's stupid because obviously he's going to get all the votes he needs to get it. His gold jacket is just waiting on him to get fitted. The issue is having to wait that 7 years because that's the rule for the NFL. It's a 7-year after you're retired.
Ridiculous.
I completely
you either
agree.
are or you're not. You shouldn't have to wait time.
Right. Because Andre Reed, I was mad as hell, after learning about the Bills of the 90s.
Yeah.
And Andre Reed, at the time he retired, was second only to Jerry Rice in all major wide receiver stat categories. Exactly. It took him 7, after he was eligible, so after he retired and waited the 7 years, it took the Hall of Fame more than 7 years after the 7 years of him being eligible for Andre Reed because Jim Kelly got in, his quarterback got in, his running back got in. Hell, his kicker got in before he did.
Didn't he miss his kick at the Super Bowl?
The kicker in the first Super Bowl missed the game-winning field goal that gave the Giants that Super Bowl.
Speaking of wide receivers, and look, I think the amount of years you play should not even be part of the equation.
Right, because Gail said
we get Sterling Sharp into the Hall of Fame. If you look at his numbers, he was on pace to be better than everyone except Jerry Rice.
Right.
How in the world does he not even get a vote for Hall of Fame?
He's been on the ballot, but
I feel like he's never going to get in though.
I kind of do too.
Because he only played 8 years.
Right.
But during his time of productivity, he was better than everybody.
Right, exactly. Gale Sayers only played 6-7 seasons. And Curtis, that's one thing I go with Curtis a lot, is that he's like, Gale Sayers shouldn't be a Hall of Famer. And I'm like, okay, he was a great kickoff returner, punt returner. He didn't put up the same numbers for running backs of his time, but the impact he had on football alone, because Hall of Fame's not about the numbers, it's not about, purely stats.
Right.
It's about impact, what you did for the game and all that. Gale Sayers had all of that, except all the, flashy stats because, he only played 6-7 seasons.
Stats, I feel like stats are overrated, though.
Yeah, I do too.
You can't say based on statistics that one player is better than the other.
Right.
My thing is, this is what I always say. if aliens knew nothing about football, and I hate the statistic argument when it comes to the GOAT conversation.
Right.
I think it's stupid.
Yeah.
Look, you can say whatever you want, and this is where I differentiate because of postseason success. The difference between best of all time and greatest of all time.
Yeah.
The best quarterback to ever play football is Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
The greatest quarterback is Tom Brady.
Yeah.
If you knew nothing about Tom Brady and you just watched the two of them play, there's not a legitimate argument to say that Peyton Manning wasn't a better quarterback than Tom Brady. But Tom Brady had that postseason success, which justifies the greatest. Right. And same with like Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, based on what
he's the most talented.
He's the most talented quarterback and one of the best of all time.
Right.
Not one of the greatest of all time.
Right.
Just because it comes down to the postseason success.
Right.
Peyton has enough to be in that conversation for GOAT, but just as a quarterback, he's better than, to me, he's significantly better than everybody else. And then obviously you can throw Joe Montana in there and others. But I just think it's a complicated conversation, and
it is.
If you like Brady, you say Brady's a GOAT.
Yeah.
If you don't, you say whoever.
Yeah, Rodgers. Right.
Rodgers.
Because if Rodgers had been in New England, he would have won 10 Super Bowls.
Joe Montana.
Right.
And Brady does have some stuff that needs to be explained.
Yeah.
But at the same time, this is the thing. With all the scandals that went on in England, I don't want to get into that too much.
Right.
In the Super Bowl against Carolina, he still made those throws.
Yeah.
In the St. Louis Rams Super Bowl, he made the throw.
Yeah.
As much as if you know the play or not, I don't know what happened.
Right.
We still don't know what happened. But he made the throws.
Yeah.
And then the other thing with deflated balls when they were,
they made
with the lack of deflation, they were losing the game.
Right.
And then they switched to the appropriate thing.
Yeah.
And then they won 45 to 14 or whatever.
No, they made the case other way that the Colts had made the case that they were using the deflated balls in the second half when they were scoring all the points.
Whatever, but the thing is, again, you can say whatever you want about the whole situation, but Brady made that throw, and one of the most underrated throws in Super Bowl history. It's not one of those flashy ones like Eli to Manningham, which to me is the best throw I've ever seen.
I put the Tyreek catch right above it, but yeah.
But I
know a lot of people love the Manningham one.
The difference is the Tyreek catch was based on just dumb luck.
Yeah.
Because in today's game, he would have been called down.
Yep.
Secondly, the ball just like stuck in his helmet.
Right.
I mean, he had his hand there, but I feel like it was like in his face mask.
But even the one thing that does it for me about the Tyreek catch is that people from the Giants teams of that year said the man couldn't catch in practice. The man we were running that route and like he wasn't doing anything.
Well, the reason he was in the game is because they were in desperation.
Right. Exactly.
So that's a great catch, but Manningham's always the one for me. But I would say that the pass that he makes to Falk in the Carolina Super Bowl. Yeah. It's not a big pass. It was like 10 yards. Yeah. It's one of the most underrated passes because without that, none of this happens. Right. And Ray Lewis was talking about it on one of these NFL 100 documentaries. And it's just stuff like that makes him the greatest. But I don't think there's an existing argument that he's better at throwing the football than Aaron Rodgers or a better quarterback than Peyton Manning. But he's the greatest because of what he's done in the postseason. Right. And he's got the 6. He's got the 6 rings. He's got the 3 losses. He could have 8 rings, really. Yeah. He also could have 2 rings, but you know. Right. Exactly. Right. Anyway, that sort of let's think about that stuff. So Pat Mahomes. I mean, I still think. Again, I think Pat Mahomes is the most talented quarterback in the league. I still think Russell's the best, and that's just my opinion. I'm not going to really get into that because I love them both. So yeah, I love them both too. So it just doesn't matter. But he's on trajectory. So it looks like the Chiefs might go back to the Super Bowl when they get. And he's got the 50 touchdown season, and he's got the MVP. Right. Obviously, this isn't about rings. Right. So what do you guys think it would take for him to be the GOAT? Mahomes? Yeah.
I'll let you answer first because I've been very talkative today.
Because I don't think rings and rings is the right. Mm-hmm. And I know this is way premature, but his career.
Everybody's already talking about it.
It started. You're not supposed to throw 50 touchdowns your first season, or Super Bowl your second season. Right.
second season it started because he was a rookie.
Yeah.
The year they sat him for a year
Right.
behind Alex Smith.
You go first.
Yeah, I agree
I
that
don't
I don't
say
think
this.
the rank argument would I think it would come down to again that conversation you had between best and greatest. It will come or like the talented versus best or greatest because the guy makes no look passes look easy. Yeah. He does like sidearm stuff and like crazy his highlight reel alone.
He doesn't throw interceptions.
Exactly. Like he's a gunslinger. He's a gunslinger.
He's Aaron Rodgers on steroids.
Right, because Aaron Rodgers already doesn't throw a lot of interceptions.
Yeah, but he throws even less.
Right.
Right.
And just as many, if not more, touchdowns.
Yeah.
So it's just like, wow.
Let me just put this scenario. Mm-hmm. Let's say he wins 3.
Okay.
So he wins
2 more.
2 more, and he has
4 more MVPs.
Let's say 3, 4 MVPs. I'm gonna say he's top 5 in touchdowns, top 10 in yards.
Okay.
So 3 MVPs, so 4 MVPs, 3 rings, top 5 in touchdowns and top 10 in yards, and let's say he's close in. Let's say interception to touchdown ratio is close to what Aaron Rodgers is.
Yeah.
Do you think that body of work is enough? And again,
to be GOAT?
Yeah.
Not quite.
So what would it take to go one more? Would he need to win another Super Bowl?
Give me 1 more Super Bowl, 1 more MVP.
So 5 MVPs, 4 Super Bowls?
Yeah.
So if he gets to 4.
Yeah.
And for me, he's got to be MVP of everyone. Yeah. I'm not letting, Tyreek Hill win MVP.
Right.
So.
And it's hard to have, you don't see wide receivers win MVP. You see their quarterback.
But he shouldn't have won that.
I mean, right, he should have. Oh, you're saying Super Bowl MVP?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah.
Well, yeah, I think MVP. The league
I thought you meant like league MVP.
It's hard, but I think Russell's getting it this year.
I do too.
Which he deserves.
Yeah.
Because there was one.
He's never won it.
There was a year he threw for 33 touchdowns.
Never won it.
No.
10 interceptions, 785 yards on the ground, and 7 touchdowns on the ground.
Yep.
And they gave it to Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
And I don't mean to pick on Aaron Rodgers, but.
Right. The media, when it comes to voting for MVP, Colin Cowherd said it best. They like the story.
Yeah.
They go with what's the best story.
Yeah.
It's not always about the performance.
Right.
Or who had the best performance out of everybody who's in that category of MVP.
It's just like this. The great Johan Cruyff once said, and he was talking about the Ballon d'Or, not NFL MVP, but what it comes down to is just there's a bunch of journalists voting for their friends.
Yep.
So if who's unlikable, who could be a potential MVP?
Unlikable.
That's a hard one.
Michael Vick's first year in Philly.
Okay, because I can't think of anyone current.
I can't think of anyone current that's unlikable that's playing at an MVP.
Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Okay. So Baker Mayfield,
But media tends to like him more so.
General or us personally?
Just look. So sometimes there's in all sports, there's a player who gets less leeway because they're kind of a dick.
Yeah.
They talk the talk, we can't walk the walk in the same way.
Right.
They call out certain people.
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers,
Baker Mayfield would be.
Or Aaron Rodgers, but I feel like too many people like Aaron Rodgers for that to be the argument.
Exactly.
But Baker Mayfield is never going to sniff an MVP.
Right.
But if he had a year or someone like him, let's just say someone like him, because Baker Mayfield MVP should never belong.
Jay Cutler.
If he had 47 touchdown passes, 8 interceptions, and let's say 500, 300 yards or something like that, and he's not likable, I still don't think he will win the MVP.
Right.
And that's that's what comes down to. So speaking of unlikable people, Tampa Bay got Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay.
Yep. That's the new nickname for it.
So I have so many things on this, but
I do too.
What was your reaction other than I guess shocked that he's playing?
I'm not shocked where he went.
I'm not
shocked where he went.
Not one bit.
I'm more shocked that after all the IG lives, after all the something's mentally wrong with him.
Yeah.
And the baby mama drama on the IG live, all of that.
Yeah.
The NFL and you and I view the same way on Kaepernick, the Kaepernick situation. Yeah. And now the NFL is literally, I say it all the time now, the NFL is profiting on what they blacklisted Colin Kaepernick for. Right. My cause, my cleats. Yeah. That was literally like Colin Kaepernick. Like they're using like, okay, if you guys want to, talk about police brutality, put it on your cleats and stuff.
But if you want to, stand up for breast cancer, it's fine.
Yeah, right. So it's just like you're profiting off of the very things that you blackballed them for, and now they're talking about the whole voting thing. Yeah. And so it's just like, okay, so you guys are literally making money off the same thing you just blacklisted him for, and saying that all 32 starting quarterbacks and all their backups are better quarterbacks than what he could be for your franchise. Yeah. All 32 teams and all their backups.
Yeah. It's just
Nathan Peterman. Nathan Peterman.
I watched him at Penn State just twice, and I'm like, anyone who drafts that.
Mark Sanchez outside those 2 straight AFC Championship spots.
Yeah.
Come on. But no, back on the Antonio Brown, what we were originally talking about. Yeah. Something's mentally wrong with him. Yeah. He was on pace to be better than Jerry Rice in statistics had he played even 12 years. Yeah. Right. Antonio Brown shot his career, and he could have already, for the longest, it was who's better, him or Julio Jones, for a while. And Antonio Brown's.
This is the thing. Julio Jones is Antonio Brown with maturity.
Yeah. Oh, God.
He's not as good, but
for sure.
Yeah.
But with maturity.
Yeah.
And I think, actually, Des Bryant just got signed by the Ravens, but.
Yeah, to the practice squad.
That's the one that, if you're gonna sign, I understand Des is a head case at times.
Yeah.
But there's less baggage with Des Bryant than there is in Samuel.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad because I'm a big Russell Wilson fan that he's not going to Seahawks.
I am too.
Could you imagine him on the Seahawks when Metcalf has had 7 catches for 150?
Right.
And Antonio Brown's got 3 catches for 45 yards.
It's just like
he's gonna destroy the inside of that locker room.
Yep.
I thought before this, and this might be crazy, I think Tampa Bay is still a Super Bowl team.
Oh yeah.
They can't win. They cannot win it with him in the locker room.
No.
I think unless Tom Brady sets him straight.
Everybody in the Renegades group, outside of the couple bandwagon dudes who were posting about how Tampa Bay's going to the Super Bowl, everybody else in the Renegades was like, Tampa Bay's they're not even a playoff team. Like, I was like, okay, so did you not watch how during the last quarter of the year last year, they had one of the best defenses? No, they had the best defense.
Yeah.
In the NFL last year. And with Jameis Winston as their quarterback.
If he threw 15 picks instead of 30, they would have made the playoffs.
And nobody scored more points other than the Ravens than Tampa Bay last year. The top 2 scoring teams in the NFL last year was Baltimore and Tampa Bay.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and that says a lot considering, Jameis threw 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions last year.
Yeah.
And,
That's not the 30 for 30 you want to be on.
No, exactly. Right.
No. It's just a crazy situation. And
Tampa Bay's had to work out their kinks this year.
I think they're still a good team. I just don't think they can win with the dressing room, locker room, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
With him involved.
Yeah.
All right. So we've been talking for a while. So let's end this with I guess we'll just what are you guys Super Bowl picks? And then who are your top 10
early
quarterbacks?
Super Bowl picks and who?
And then we can make it just if you want to make a list of our top 5, top 10 quarterbacks
of all time or current.
Whatever you want to do.
Okay.
Because
Super Bowl picks.
I mean, we could talk for another 3 hours.
Yeah.
I just don't want it to be like 5 on whatever. So I just think this is a good sign point because we talked about.
Right now, as of right now, what's today, the 28th.
Yeah.
Steelers, Bucks, Super Bowl.
All right.
I like Steelers, Bucks. Right, as of right now.
I got Chiefs, Steelers.
Okay. Wait.
Well, they're the same. They're the same, right?
Yeah, they're the same conference.
Hold on a second. Now, who do I want in the NFC? Is Buffalo in the NFC?
No, AFC.
Sorry. I'm gonna go. For some reason, I thought it was in. All right. Just give me a second.
Yeah, you got all your AFC teams that you'd like.
Yeah, NFC is like Seattle.
Yeah.
49ers.
Well,
Ravens.
Yeah. No.
No, Ravens
AFC.
All right.
Seattle, Niners, Tampa Bay,
Saints.
Packers,
Bears, Carolina,
yeah,
Vikings. Not saying
Ravens.
they're contenders.
yeah.
just saying our teams.
Cowboys,
Cowboys,
Skins,
Eagles.
yeah,
Um,
Giants.
All right, I'm gonna go. I don't like to do this because who do you have winning?
Between the Steelers and Bucks,
Yeah.
I got Bucks edging it out. Just not by. It's going to be a very good game. If that were to happen, it's going to be a very good game. Both defenses are good. Big Ben throws too many ugly balls for me.
Yeah.
And Tom Brady right now is trajecting really well. The last 2 games he's gone off. So I feel like the Bucks they're more buttoned up than the Steelers, a little more buttoned up than the Steelers. But these Steelers defensively are a really nice.
I picked the Ravens as being NFC and
Okay.
in the AFC.
You still sticking with the Ravens?
I think I am.
Okay.
And let me explain. So last year they had that magical season. Lamar Jackson was doing his thing. This year he's still doing his thing.
Yeah.
But it feels like people look at them as an afterthought.
Yeah.
And that's going to continue to be the case.
Yep. And Lamar Jackson is the perfect guy to be.
Right.
You know.
So I'm feeling the momentum driving that.
Yeah.
And I think I like the Steelers a lot, but it's hard to say that Pat Mahomes isn't going to be an NFC Championship game.
The AFC Championship. Yeah.
And they have a score to settle.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make a bold case. I'm gonna say the Ravens are gonna win the NFC or AFC
Yeah.
in Kansas City.
Okay.
The Ravens will make the Super Bowl. They will find the Seahawks there with them. And
Ooh.
even though
Ravens Seahawks.
I know that the Ravens have better surrounding pieces and
Yeah.
a better defense,
Yeah.
I can't bet against Russell Wilson in
No.
that game. So I'm gonna go
Because he's yeah.
I think I have the Seahawks winning the Super Bowl over. And yesterday, this totally contradicts what I said yesterday.
Yeah.
Because I had talked with my co-host about this, and I think the Ravens aren't a Super Bowl team that can win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But
I don't like them playing from behind.
no. But I think if they play the Ravens and they have the ball first, they won't be behind. And the
Play the
Ravens,
Seahawks, you mean?
yeah, the Seahawks. So I think the Seahawks. I don't have the Seahawks Ravens, but I'm gonna have the Seahawks winning it, and I'll adjust it later if it feels like it. I feel like he threw 3 picks in that game the other night.
Mm-hmm.
He was outplayed by Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
Well, I think we'll make the playoffs.
Yeah. That you could make a case. All 3 teams or 3 of those teams make.
Yeah. So
the
I'm
playoffs.
gonna say that the Seahawks just because of the quarterback play,
Mhm.
and this will be the year of Russ. He's won the MVP.
And he's
And then when he wins the MVP, people like Stephen A. Smith will be on TV talking about how Aaron Rodgers got robbed.
Yeah.
And they're going to hear about that. And then the Packers and the Seahawks will probably end up playing at some point, and
Mhm.
it'll be another 49ers type game.
Uh-huh.
They'll make, and then, but I don't have enough trust in the Ravens to stay go all the way. So I have them, but there's so many teams it could be.
Speaking of, you just said Packers Seahawks. My unpopular opinion had the Seahawks because they lost all 3 of their running. They had to re-sign Marshawn. They had to bring him out of retirement.
Yeah.
For that game.
Yeah.
Had the Seahawks had at least 1 or 2 of their running backs from the regular season against the Packers in that playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
Packers aren't making it to the next round.
Yeah. I said last year, and I'll say it again. They were a 9-17 to 113 games.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So anyway, Dereck, who do you have for Super Bowl?
I'm gonna say Chiefs Bucks, and I think Kansas City's gonna win it all again.
I wouldn't mind that at all.
I wouldn't either.
All right, let's do. Go ahead.
Tom Brady's the GOAT, but
Obviously.
Yeah.
I think Mahomes is gonna beat him in a shootout, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's gonna. That
I think
feel like
it'll
that'll
be high
shit.
scoring.
Yeah.
38-31.
All right.
Somewhere around there.
Okay. So let's say let's give our top 5 quarterbacks of all time, and I'm gonna make one last point on what Dereck just said, and then
Okay.
then we can just talk. But I just don't want this to be too long.
Right.
Top 5 of all time.
You can do now or of all time, whichever you prefer.
Marino?
At 1?
No, where do I put him? I put him at, okay, I'll put him at 3. So I'm certainly in the middle.
Go 5 to 1.
Okay, 5 to
That's
1.
5.
Elway.
Okay.
Jay Cutler, no play.
Jay Cutler for all 5. No, I'm kidding.
Do you need me to go first?
You go first.
All right.
Jay Cutler, Mitch Trubisky, Josh McCown,
Tim Couch and
Cordell Stewart, Rex Grossman.
I'm gonna go with
I'm kidding. What the shit?
I'm going Elway at 5. Okay, I'm just thinking. Montana at 4.
Who'd you have for 5? Elway?
Elway.
Okay. Montana.
Montana at 4, Marino at 3, Peyton at 2, Brady at 1.
I can agree with that. Elway.
And just let me, I just want to explain one point, because I joke below.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think Dan Marino's a better quarterback, and
Yeah, he just never got a
he
ring.
never got a ring.
Yeah.
I'm not going to hold that against him.
Yeah,
Joey's got 4, but he had Jerry Rice, and
Right.
he's amazing and all that stuff, but
Yeah.
that's the way I would put
Yeah, I agree.
it. And at 47, I have Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
So Elway. Ooh.
Sorry, isn't it?
It is.
It is. It's tough.
Jay Cutler.
Yeah.
I go again.
Jay Cutler, Brian Greasy, Rex Grossman,
Yep.
And,
Kyle Orton.
Kyle Orton,
And Colin
Mitch
Howard's
Trubisky.
cover.
Yep.
Cordell Stewart,
Yep.
Ryan Leaf.
I say okay.
He's in the preseason Hall of Fame.
Yeah, right. Right.
Elway, Warren Moon.
Okay, that's a good shout.
Then give me Marino.
Okay.
Then give me Peyton.
Okay.
Then give me Brady.
What about you?
Let me go 5 to 1.
However you want to do it.
Okay.
If you want to go 1 to 5 and if that's easier, you can do that too.
I'm gonna say Brady 1.
Okay.
Montana 2. Peyton Manning 3. I'd say John Elway 4.
Okay.
Five, probably. God, this is hard. Okay, what did I say? I said
Peyton.
Brady,
Yep.
Montana, Peyton, Elway.
And then who's 5?
I mean, there's a lot of options here.
Yeah,
I gotta go Marino.
All right, one last question. Does a Super Bowl for Brady this season improve his legacy at all?
No.
I agree. I just want to know what you.
No.
I don't think it doesn't. I think he can lose another 2 and it wouldn't matter.
Right.
So I don't think this Brady Belichick thing is a real thing. I just think it's.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, guys. Thank you for doing this. We should do this again. This was
I
fun.
agree.
Yeah,
I completely agree.
Anyway, so I'm gonna. So thank you for listening, and you'll see it on YouTube.